Adaptive Organizations and Regional Resilience, Navigating the New Geography of Work abstract. This article examines how the evolving geography of work is reshaping organizational structures and regional economic resilience. The COVID-19 pandemic accelerated existing trends toward remote and hybrid work arrangements, creating a fundamental shift in where and how work occurs. Drawing on recent research in organizational science, economic geography, and regional studies, this analysis explores the implications of distributed work models for both organizational performance and regional economic development. The article identifies evidence-based strategies that forward-thinking organizations are employing to build adaptive capacity while contributing to place-based resilience. Key interventions include location-agnostic talent strategies, hub-and-spoke operational models, and collaborative placemaking initiatives. The findings suggest that organizations which successfully navigate this new geography can simultaneously enhance their competitive positioning and strengthen the socioeconomic fabric of their communities. The geography of work, where people perform their jobs and how organizations distribute their operations, is undergoing a profound transformation. While remote work capabilities have existed for decades, the COVID-19 pandemic compressed years of gradual evolution into months of rapid adaptation. By April 2020, an estimated 51% of the American workforce was working remotely, Brynjolfsson et al. 2020. Even as pandemic restrictions have eased, many organizations have maintained flexible or hybrid arrangements, with approximately 35% of work continuing to be performed remotely, Barrero et al. 2021. This shift has far-reaching implications. For organizations, it represents both opportunity and challenge: access to broader talent pools, reduced real estate costs, and potential productivity gains, but also concerns about collaboration, culture, and coordination. For regions, the stakes are equally high as traditional economic development assumptions about business attraction and retention are upended when work can occur anywhere. The emerging geography of work is not simply about remote versus in-office arrangements. Rather, it encompasses a complex redistribution of economic activity across space, from central business districts to suburbs, from major metros to smaller cities, and from traditional corporate campuses to distributed networks of facilities and individuals. Understanding and responding to this transformation is crucial for organizational leaders seeking sustainable competitive advantage and for regional stakeholders working to build resilient communities. The new work geography landscape defining geographic flexibility in the workplace. The new geography of work refers to the spatial reorganization of economic activity resulting from technological, organizational, and social changes that enable greater flexibility in where work is performed. This encompasses several distinct but related concepts. Remote work involves employees performing their duties away from a central workplace, typically from home or another location of their choosing. Hybrid work combines in-person and remote arrangements, often with scheduled office days. Distributed teams operate across multiple locations, which may include formal corporate facilities and/or individual remote settings. Hub-and-spoke models maintain a central headquarters while establishing satellite offices in various locations, Carmichael. 2021. These arrangements exist along a continuum rather than as discrete categories. Organizations increasingly adopt portfolio approaches, with different models for different functions, teams, or individuals based on work requirements and preferences. Prevalence, drivers, and distribution. The rapid adoption of remote work during the pandemic built upon longer-term trends in workplace flexibility. Prior to 2020, approximately 5% of workdays in the U.S. were performed remotely. By 2022, this figure had stabilized at around 30%, Barrero et al. 2022. However, this distribution is not uniform across industries, occupations, or regions. Knowledge-intensive sectors such as information technology, financial services, and professional services have embraced remote and hybrid arrangements most extensively. For instance, 75% of software development work can theoretically be performed remotely, Dingel and Neiman. 2020. In contrast, frontline sectors such as healthcare, retail, manufacturing, and hospitality remain largely place-bound. Though even these industries have found ways to incorporate remote elements for certain functions. This occupational divide has spatial implications. Large metropolitan areas with high concentrations of knowledge workers have experienced the greatest shift in workplace geography. Office occupancy in central business districts remains 30 to 40% below pre-pandemic levels in many major cities, Green Street. 2022. Meanwhile, smaller cities, suburban areas, and rural communities with amenities and connectivity have seen population growth as workers exercise newfound geographic flexibility. Several interconnected drivers have enabled this transformation: technological infrastructure including cloud computing, collaboration tools, and high-speed internet, organizational adaptations such as digital workflows, asynchronous communication protocols, and results-based performance management, worker preferences for flexibility, reduced commuting, and geographic choice, economic incentives including real estate cost savings and access to diverse talent pools, sustainability imperatives to reduce carbon emissions associated with commuting and office operations, organizational and individual consequences of geographic flexibility, organizational performance impacts. The shift toward greater geographic flexibility has significant implications for organizational performance across multiple dimensions. Research reveals a complex picture with both opportunities and challenges. Productivity effects are mixed but generally positive. A Stanford study of a Chinese travel agency found that remote workers were 13% more productive than their in-office counterparts, with 9% more minutes worked per shift and more calls per minute, Bloom et al. 2015. However, these gains may not be universal across all job types and individuals. Tasks requiring deep focus and individual concentration often benefit from remote settings, while complex collaboration and innovation processes may suffer without in-person interaction, Young et al. 2022. Financial impacts include potential cost savings on real estate and related expenses. Global Workplace Analytics estimates that a typical employer can save about $11,000 per half-time remote worker per year, Lister, 2020. Organizations that have reduced their office footprint report savings between 15 to 40% on workspace costs. However, these savings must be balanced against investments in technology, home office stipends, and potential productivity costs. Talent acquisition and retention represents another significant area of impact. Organizations offering geographic flexibility report 50% lower attrition rates and 10% higher applicant pools, Chowdhury et al. 2021. The ability to hire from a national or global talent pool rather than just local markets allows access to specialized skills that may be scarce in any single location. Innovation and collaboration outcomes present more complex trade-offs, while simple coordination can be effectively managed remotely. Research suggests that breakthrough innovation benefits from at least some in-person interaction. A study of patent teams found that co-located inventors produced patents with 14% more citations than distributed teams, Catalini. 2018. Organizations must carefully design their geographic strategies to balance these considerations. Individual well-being and community impacts. The redistribution of work has profound effects on individual workers and the communities where they live. For individual well-being, remote work eliminates commuting time, an average of 54.2 minutes daily for American workers pre-pandemic, U.S. Census Bureau, 2019. This time savings translates to approximately 70 hours annually that can be redirected to family, leisure, or additional work. Survey data shows that 83% of workers prefer some form of remote work option post-pandemic, with work-life balance cited as the primary benefit. Buffer. 2021. However, remote work also presents challenges including isolation, burnout from blurred work-home boundaries, and proximity bias that may disadvantage remote workers in advancement opportunities. Research indicates that remote workers are 13% less likely to be promoted than their in-office counterparts. Controlling for Performance, Young et al. 2022. At the community level, the geographic redistribution of work has accelerated existing trends of spatial inequality. Major metropolitan areas have experienced declining office occupancy and reduced foot traffic, with small businesses in urban cores suffering 40% revenue losses in some cities. JPMorgan Chase Institute. 2021. Meanwhile, suburban and exurban areas have seen housing price increases of 15 to 25% as remote workers relocate to areas offering more space and natural amenities. Ramoni and Bloom. 2021. Rural communities with natural amenities and broadband infrastructure have experienced population growth after decades of decline. For example, Bend, Oregon, and Bozeman, Montana saw population growth of over 3% in 2021, compared to the U.S. average of 0.1%. U.S. Census Bureau, 2022. This influx brings economic benefits but also strains housing markets and local services. Evidence-based organizational responses. Location-agnostic talent strategies. Organizations that successfully navigate the new geography of work have developed talent approaches that minimize location constraints, while maximizing access to skills and capabilities. Research indicates that companies with location-agnostic recruiting practices access talent pools 5 times larger than those with traditional geographic requirements. Chowdhury et al. 2021. Effective approaches include skills-based hiring frameworks that evaluate candidates on demonstrated capabilities rather than credentials, or proximity geographically variable compensation models that adjust for local cost of living while maintaining internal equity. Digital onboarding and integration processes that create connection and cultural alignment regardless of location. Intentional asynchronous communication protocols that accommodate different time zones and work schedules. GIT-Lab, a fully distributed company with over 1,300 employees across 65 countries, has pioneered location-independent talent practices. The company maintains a comprehensive, remote playbook that documents processes for hiring, onboarding, and developing team members anywhere in the world. GIT-Lab uses a transparent salary calculator based on role, experience, and local cost of living, allowing employees to understand exactly how compensation is determined regardless of location. This approach has enabled the company to hire specialized technical talent that would be difficult to source in any single location, contributing to its rapid growth and $11 billion valuation. GIT-Lab. 2022. Hub-and-spoke operational models rather than choosing between fully centralized or fully distributed approaches. Many organizations are adopting hub-and-spoke models that maintain core facilities while establishing satellite locations and remote work options. Research by MIT's Work of the Future initiative found that organizations with hub-and-spoke models report 23% higher employee satisfaction and 18% better retention than those with either fully centralized or fully distributed approaches. Orta et al. 2022. Effective implementations include purposeful facility networks with headquarters for culture and collaboration, regional hubs for team gatherings, and flexible workspace access for individuals. Activity-based space design that optimizes in-person environments for collaboration, learning, and social connection rather than individual work. Clear attendance expectations that specify when Why and how often employees should be present in different locations. Technology-enabled hybrid meeting protocols that create equitable experiences for in-person and remote participants. Spotify implemented a work from anywhere model that combines flexibility with intentional in-person collaboration. The company allows employees to choose whether they work primarily from home, from an office, or in a hybrid arrangement. Spotify maintains hub offices in major cities worldwide but also provides stipends for co-working spaces in other locations. The company redesigned its facilities to focus on collaboration spaces, studios, and community areas rather than individual workstations. Regular team weeks bring distributed colleagues together for intensive collaboration sessions. This approach has reduced voluntary turnover by 15% while maintaining the company's innovative culture. Spotify 2022. Place-based partnerships and investments. Forward-thinking organizations recognize that their success is intertwined with the vitality of the places where they operate. Even as work becomes more distributed, strategic place-based initiatives can strengthen both organizational capabilities and community resilience. Research by the Brookings Institution found that companies engaged in place-based partnerships report 30% higher community reputation scores and 25% better local talent retention than those without such initiatives. Liu and Berube 2020. Effective approaches include educational ecosystem development through curriculum partnerships, apprenticeship programs, and skills training initiatives. Infrastructure investments in broadband, transportation, and public spaces that benefit both the organization and the broader community. Small business supplier development that builds local economic capacity and resilience. Place-based innovation networks that connect academic institutions, startups, and established organizations. Tulsa Remote, a partnership between the George Kaiser Family Foundation and the City of Tulsa, Oklahoma, illustrates the potential of place-based approaches. The program offers $10,000 grants, co-working space, and community programming to remote workers who relocate to Tulsa. Multiple employers, including Airbnb, have formed partnerships with Tulsa Remote to encourage employees to consider the city as a remote work location. An economic impact study found that the program generated $62 million in local economic impact and attracted over 1,200 remote workers to the city. Participating employers report higher retention rates among employees who relocated through the program compared to their overall workforce. Tulsa Remote 2022. Building long-term geographic resilience. Hybrid native organizational design to thrive in the new geography of work. Organizations must move beyond adapting existing structures and instead design operations that are inherently suited to distributed work patterns. This requires fundamental reconsideration of how work is organized, managed, and experienced. Research by Gartner indicates that organizations with hybrid native designs, those built specifically for distributed operation rather than adapted from traditional models, report 32% higher digital dexterity and 28% faster decision-making than those using modified traditional approaches. De Smet et al. 2021. Key elements of hybrid native design include team-based structures organized around outcomes rather than functions or geography. These cross-functional teams have clear objectives, decision rights, and accountability mechanisms that operate regardless of location. Documented knowledge management practices that reduce dependency on informal information sharing. Organizations like Automatic, the company behind WordPress, maintain extensive internal documentation systems that make institutional knowledge accessible to all team members regardless of location or tenure. Asynchronous first workflows that minimize dependency on real-time interaction while preserving space for synchronous collaboration when needed. This approach accommodates different time zones, work schedules, and cognitive styles while improving documentation and decision quality. Digital-physical integration rather than treating physical and digital workspaces as separate domains. Resilient organizations are creating seamless integration between environments to support work that flows across locations and contexts. Spatial computing technologies including augmented and virtual reality are increasingly used to create shared visual contexts for distributed teams. Architecture firm NBBJ uses VR environments to allow distributed design teams to collaborate on building models in shared virtual space, maintaining the spatial understanding that was previously only possible when co-located. Internet of Things, IoT, workplace systems connect physical environments with digital work processes. Sensors, smart building technology, and space reservation systems create responsive environments that adapt to changing usage patterns while generating data about how space is actually used. Equitable meeting technologies are being developed to address the challenges of hybrid gatherings where some participants are physically present while others join remotely. Microsoft's meeting room technologies use multiple cameras, spatial audio, and intelligent framing to create more natural interactions between in-person and remote participants. Regional economic diversification. The most resilient regions in the new geography of work are those that diversify their economic strategies to embrace both place-based and location-independent activities. Mixed-use development that combines residential, commercial, and community spaces enables areas to thrive even as traditional office utilization changes. Cities like Cincinnati have converted downtown office buildings to residential and mixed-use properties, maintaining vitality in central business districts despite reduced commuter populations. Digital nomad infrastructure including visa programs, co-living spaces, and community integration services helps regions attract mobile knowledge workers. Countries including Estonia, Croatia, and Portugal have created digital nomad visa programs, while cities like Medellin, Colombia, and Chiang Mai, Thailand have developed ecosystems specifically catering to location-independent professionals. Distributed innovation networks connect regional specializations across geography. The Rural Innovation Network links 23 rural communities across the U.S. with shared resources for entrepreneurship, technical training, and capital access, creating a distributed innovation ecosystem that transcends the limitations of any single location. Conclusion: the new geography of work represents a fundamental reorganization of where and how value is created in the economy. This transformation offers significant opportunities for organizations to access talent, reduce costs, and build resilience, but also presents challenges in maintaining cohesion, culture, and innovation in distributed settings. Organizations that thrive in this environment will be those that move beyond binary thinking about remote versus in-office work to develop nuanced strategies that match work patterns to activities, preferences, and business needs. The most successful approaches recognize that different functions, teams, and individuals may require different geographic arrangements, and that these needs may evolve over time. For regions and communities, the redistribution of work creates both opportunities and threats. Places that invest in connectivity, quality of life, and inclusive growth can attract mobile workers and organizations, while those that rely on traditional economic development models may struggle. The most resilient regions will be those that combine strategies to retain and attract remote workers with investments in place-based industries and amenities. As we navigate this transition, the relationship between organizations and the places where they operate is being redefined. Rather than seeing geographic flexibility as disconnecting organizations from place, forward-thinking leaders recognize that intentional place-based strategies combined with distributed work models can create new forms of connection, resilience, and shared prosperity.